Hello, y'all. Welcome to Bamm Raw TV. This is the second episode of how I grew up in the bottom, and I want y'all to go to my subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, then I want you to hit the like for me, and also hit the bell icon so that when I put a new video out, that y'all will know that it's out there and y'all can check it out. And on this second part is the further continuation of me growing up in the bottom. Now, as the things I told you about on the first episode, to continue with this here is the fact that when you get to a certain age in an area like the bottom of red light district, your ability to participate in high levels of things become available. So as I got in my teens, I was moving around a little bit more, and they were more comfortable with me doing more adult like things and everything. So so I got to follow the guys, and I seen the guys. I went around with guys when they collected a little money. I went around when they they bought jewelry and stuff from people. Some of the time they exchanged it for drugs. Sometimes they exchanged it for money or whatever. And actually, they used to do some loan sharking at that time back then. So I was privy to all that now because I'm riding around with them. And in riding around with them and being privy to seeing them make money in a more adult level, to actually be there when the money has changed hands and stuff, like that, because I was trusted now. But I also seen the exchange of their association with women's and how they carry the women, and what they did with the women's and going on. Sometimes they'll leave me in the truck for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, I guess, when they going to be with their ladies or whatever. But I'll be with one person, and I'll see one person have 4 or 5, like Slim and different other, big homies and stuff. They would have, each one of them have 4 or 5 women. They definitely, they didn't have no one woman going on. They had their lady at the house, but they always had a couple of ladies just go by. So naturally, as a young age of me seeing this, it was like a rite of passage at that time. It was like a clout of actually having money or being successful, a clout that if a man could afford to have 4 or 5 women or 3 or 4 women to go around and stop by out with, do things with them, it was like, hey man, that's part of being a man. Also in our area, what a part of growing up and being a man was getting incarcerated. You pretty much, if you hadn't went to jail, you hadn't went to farm school, you hadn't went to jail in the bottom area, you really wasn't nobody. You didn't have no conversation. Most of the time you didn't have no, you was considered with the square people and going on, the everyday people, the people who went to work and everything, which we had great respect for them going on, but we didn't consider them, we didn't consider them to know what was going on in the streets, to be slick, street slick and everything, or street wise. So we had a big respect and a big clout, a greater respect and a big clout for the ones who worked at night. Well, people who was out in the streets at the nighttime, and the people who's making things happen. People was a part of different things. So officially, if you had never been to jail or had never, didn't have no record in anything, you pretty much you wasn't in the know with us. So it was greatly respected that you had to been to jail and you had somebody to talk to. So I mean, average little young dude, other people in other neighborhoods and other part of society, all they thinking about is, man, I want to go to high school, I want to get a college degree, I want to do this here. Well, we was down there thinking about, man, I can't wait to go to farm school, man. And white man, if I go down there and go, I'm telling you how this gonna be, man, and this and that. So that's what we was looking forward to. I mean, that was our badge of honor. And as for at the thing with the relationship wise, our badge of honor was having multiple women's. You know what I'm saying? I seen that in Slim them, and they always had several women going on. So affected by this in life and everything. So naturally, when I grew up and I started moving around and getting a little money going on, and I felt like that I still wasn't doing nothing until I had me 3 or 4 girls or 4 or 5 girls. And as it went on as a young guy, I had a girl here, I had a girl there and going on, but it was childhood stuff. But it's something that followed me all the way on up to me being an adult. And a lot of people in my neighborhood, they always had 2 or 3 women's going on. That was basically, if you was getting money, you was gonna have 2 or 3 women, cause that was a badge of honor again. So most of my homeboys had 2 or 3 women just going on. So, and I adopted it. Like I said, right now I couldn't change it. If I couldn't change it, and I doubt if I would, I could. But I do know that I would not do that route no more, because it's a lot of complications and casualties in them types of relationships. From children, and that you can't spend time with, and a lot of other things. As I got on, I started messing with different women and going on, but I always thought that I was trying to make things better. I always wanted to add another level to things. So I couldn't. I used to see how they used to go from house to house, and they be hiding, and some of they women was get into it and be in front of each other house, and broken pop bottle in their hand, and screaming at the other woman to stay away from their man, and all kind of stuff like that, and he sneaking on off to the side and everything like that. And so I didn't really care for that, and I felt like it had to be a better way. So actually, when I did start moving around and start having the money to be able to do the things that I could do, I had a legitimate wife who I had caught out of jail, and she had actually stuck with me that time. And so I got out, I married her, kept my promise, married her and everything. She was an elder woman, 15 years older than me, very intelligent, a church going woman and everything like that. She was like my foundation at that time. But while I was out in the streets, I had another girl who she was streetwise. She was 5 years older than me, but she was streetwise and knew how to run everything. And she had been out in the, she was wise. She was smart too, but she was streetwise. And then so there was several other ones. So I ended up adopting the thing where I was calling them basically wives, and I had up to 5 wives at one time. And you could see people right now when I be walking down the street. This is why I'm telling this story. I be walking down the street, and dudes right now pull up with one of their homeboys like, man, Bam, man, tell him you had 5 wives, man. Bam had 5 wives. He had them all hanging together, man. They used to be dressed alike. They knew each other. They hang together, man. Tell him, Bam, tell him I'm not lying. Man, tell him you had 5 wives. And then I would say, yeah, what he's saying is true, like they, and the dude be like, and they knew each other. I said, yeah. What? They were dressed alike. And so, so anyway, like say at parties when I had my 5 wives, I used to call them. I used to call her by name. Number one, pretty much, she always stayed at home and everything. But the rest of them used to go to the parties. We used to have the big parties in the field down there and everything. People come out from Texas, everywhere to enjoy the parties. And we would be down there, and I would be standing there with my wives, and I'd be like, okay, wife number 2, see what number 3 and 4 want to drink, and give me this here, and go bring me this, and go like that there. And people be looking with their eyes wide open like, man, look at them, that's what they doing, Bam. And they'll come over like, Bam, man, can I ask her something like that? I said, there she go right there, ask her. Man, you and wife number 4 get along, y'all, this and that there. And we get along, and going on. They all working together for the betterment of all of us, not just the betterment of me. And so we went, I was known for that, and my thing was trying to make it better. My ideology of making it better was to get them to get along with each other, get all of us to benefit from the relationship, opposed to them being at odds with each other, broken ballers in their hand, arguing with each other at the club like that. I didn't like that type of confusion in what I was trying to do, because I had to focus on the outside, and I didn't have time to be focused on bull crap on the inside. So I made everybody aware of wife number 1. I made everybody aware of the different things that the different wives brought to the table. And everyone, and people believe it or not, whether you can understand it or not, in my own way, I love them all in their own way. Everyone has something different to contribute. Everything has something worthwhile to contribute to our relationships and what we was doing and everything. And like I say, believe it or not, I loved all of them in their own way. And basically, if something happened while I went to jail, wife number 1 didn't know nothing about my street life. The other wives, they was doing their thing out there, making sure we was all right, and I was making sure that everything was taken care of. But if I went to jail for some reason, then wife number 4 would get together, and she'll get all my cars. Her and 3, they'll take all my cars and put them in the back of, park them in the back of my house. And then wife number 2 would contact wife number 1 and tell her, hey, Bam Bam in jail. We got the money and everything to burn them out. We just need you to sign for it. And they'll come over there, she get her the money, and they had a bondman to contact her. I had my own personal bondman, and I had my own personal lawyers, a misdemeanor lawyer and a felony lawyer. They would have her to contact everybody because she signed. She had legitimate the house. We had everything that we need to put up the house, but she was signed for it and everything. And I get out, and when I get out, wife number one would be at work because that's basically what she did with the work, came home and went to church. So she would be at work, and the wife number four or one of the others would come take one of my cars and come pick me up with some of my sons or some of my dudes in the car with me. And they be ready with the gin. As soon as I get out of jail, I jump in and go on right back to work, right back to the streets and everything. Like I said, people ask me about that right now. What is my relationship with all of them since I'm no longer associated with them in that fashion? Number one, I found another wife, and me and my wife, she was with me 7 years in jail, and I got out. We've been married, and we've been doing pretty good for the 3 years we've been married. I'm in love with her, and I'm hoping she's still in love with me, and so everything is going fine on that. But I can't disqualify what my other wives was to my life. They still my friends. I respect them for the things they did for me, and I appreciate them, and they my friends right now. If I see one, I speak to her. I talk to some. I got one in California I talk to. They got some down in this part of the state that I talk to. Some I still see now. I pass them. If I see them on the streets and I holler at them or whatever, I don't mean them no harm, and I mean they don't mean me no harm. Let them go on with their life, and like I say, it's no animosity between us and going on. We all lived the part that we lived back then, and now we all live in a different part. All of them is working. Most of them is working. All of them basically working and got jobs and everything, and they doing that because I try to. When I was going with them and I was out in the streets, I always tried to send them to school. Wanted to learn about, being a orderly, nursery aide, anything, any kind of trade and going on. I was trying to get them to see what they like, go take up a trade so that if and when I got killed or when I went to jail, you wouldn't have to depend on a dope boy no more. If I went to jail, you had a choice to either go to work and take care of my child or your child, and then that was your choice. You wasn't just dependent on the next dope boy to come along. If you chose to go with another dope boy, then that was a decision I wanted you to make. I didn't want it to be forced on you because you had no ability to do nothing else. And so moving on from that there, like I say, most all of them got jobs, and matter of fact, 2 of them ended up going to jail. One went to jail for 10 years for murder, and another went to jail she had 35 years for 2 murders and 2 kidnapped, and all of them is home, and all of them is doing pretty good from my last contact with them. But like I say, I'm happy with the life that I'm living right now. I'm trying to do something positive, but I understand where it came from, where I picked up that attitude that's going on. And even when we pick up attitude or something and we try to make it better, we making a negative thing better, at least in my perspective. You know what I'm saying? So what we doing, we'll take it and we feel like we are making it better, but we're making it better in the wrong direction instead of trying to do something else. But like I say, I can't. My life was my life. I lived it. Everybody have to learn their own self, and I don't preach. I don't preach down on individuals who may be participating in that same type of life now, because I did what I did. And I took the advice old heads gave me, and if I used it, I used it. If I didn't, I didn't. But I always listen, because it's always a grain of knowledge or wisdom in some of the things that the old head tell you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do what they say. You know what I'm saying? But if you're wise, you'll listen to what some of them tell you because they have listened to it. Now, there's no fool like an old fool. You got some of them tell you some foolish stuff. So you got to discern and how one moving and whatever to decide what you take that information with a grain of salt. And several other things that our life is affected about and going on, that we see these different things, like the rite of passage going on. You have a disregard, a rite of passage for going to jail and everything. people are pretty much you didn't have a disdain or fear of going to jail because that's what the thing. It's like going to college. You want to go to jail. You wasn't trying to get yourself caught, but you had a boldness with that if I get caught and do go to jail, it's a win-win situation. As long as I'm getting away and I'm making money. But when I do get caught, I'm gonna go to jail, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get more status. I'm gonna do 5 years, do 3 years, get more status, and come back out. And I mean that's some twisted thinking. But it was what we were subjected to. When a person been living in the dark all their life, and when you expose them to light, it hurt their eyes. So some of the truth of what people are telling us that it don't make sense to go to jail or whatever, that didn't register with us. That hurt our brain. What you mean don't go to jail? Why wouldn't I want to go to jail and end up being a gangster? How can I be a gangster if I don't go to jail? You telling me I don't have my right of passage? And so it's hard, until people know the full stories. It's kind of hard to just put that in a person's head without breaking everything down to them, for them to look at it from every way, and they realize, you know what, I can be a gangster making money, legitimate money. I can be a gangster running my business. I'm not gonna let nobody run over my business or take my business, but I can do it within the scope of being a legitimate businessman and be just as strong as the person who out there in the streets that's taking chances on going to penitentiary, throwing bricks at the penitentiary, trying to get in it. So I mean, I always take a word to the wise and going on. Whatever you do, what I'm saying, be careful, think about it, and put your mind into everything you do. Okay, hey y'all, go subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon and hit the like if you like this video. And I'm still got more stuff coming at you. Hey, this the 411 Giant. We finna step this thing up, man. Love y'all.